And Community Service of the Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce. I'm Gary Douglas, and as hopefully all of you know by this point, every couple of weeks we try to bring you an episode that will perhaps examine some of the businesses here in the North Country or issues that are of importance to business. Helpful topics such as small business financing is one that we did recently. And other times we hope to get out around the North Country region and examine local business communities out there in the North Country, what's happening in those communities, what there is there for all of us in the North Country to take advantage of, and just help us all know and understand each other here in the North Country a little better. And that's what today's episode is about. We're here in the Northern Tier at Miramar Factory Outlet Center in Champlain, and we're going to be taking a look at the business community and services, things to do, what's happening in this Northern Tier business community of Clinton County. And we have several super guests with us this morning that really kind of represent a great cross-section with a very diverse business community that exists up here. Matt Boyer, to my right, is with Cross-Border Development Corporation. They're a company here that really deals with the whole Canadian equation, companies that are coming here and cross-border kinds of activities. It's very important to this area. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
And Kim Gerson is with us from KG Concepts, a graphic design firm here in the Northern Tier, and past president of the Northern Tier Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you.
And Gary Favreau is with us. He's the brand new president of the Northern Tier Chamber of Commerce, so we're going to shine the spotlight right on him today. Welcome, Gary. Lisa Getty is here with us from Miramar Factory Outlet Center. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
And also with us is Celine Paquette of Paquette's Insurance Agency here in the Northern Tier, and also a county legislator from the Champlain area. Welcome, Celine.
Thank you.
What is the Northern Tier? I think maybe I'll throw this question to Gary with the Northern Tier Chamber. What is the Northern Tier area? How is it defined when we hear that term?
It involves Rouse's Point, Champlain, Moores, Shazy. We have members as far as Peru. It involves all our North Country areas close to the border.
Mm-hmm. So it's that area that folks think of as Rouse's Point, Shazy, Moores, Champlain, that area around the border in the northern part of Clinton County.
Yep,
in effect. Mm-hmm. So that's what the area is. It's a very, I think in some respects, particularly for folks out there that may be going down in Essex County or other areas, it's probably a well-kept secret, which I know you folks want to change as to all that there is up here. Folks may commonly drive up here, they're crossing the border at Champlain, or they come up here to shop at the Factory Outlet Center, but there's a whole lot else up here that we want folks to know about. In Shazy, the Alice Minor Museum is one of the finest collections that you'll find anywhere in the state of New York. One of those very well-kept secrets up here in the Northern Tier. Mm-hmm. That folks ought to get out there on the weekends and visit in the orchards. I think the Shazy Institute, in Minor Institute.
Some beautiful trails and cross-country skiing. You have
Lake Alice.
Yep, Lake Alice.
The orchards up here, I think the Shazy Orchard is reputedly the largest Macintosh orchard in the world. Mm-hmm. They claim to be right up here in the Northern Tier. In business, industry, great restaurants. A great selection of restaurants. You want to dine a lakeside, or there's other places here in the area. It's a nice drive for folks to come up here on the weekend, shop, learn some history, dine, play golf. There's golf courses up here. Just a whole lot to check out. Kim, you've been part of this business community for quite some time and a leader up here. What's changed in recent years, and what kind of changes are perhaps taking place up here now?
I've seen a lot of business growth in the Northern Tier over the past 3 or 4 years. I'm thinking mainly of downtown Rouse's Point, because that's where my business is. 4 or 5 years ago, we had a lot of empty storefronts downtown, and now everything is really booked up. Everybody I talk to, business seems to be going very well. I think we've had an increase in businesses who want to get involved with the community and get involved with things like the Chamber of Commerce and the other service organizations as well, trying to grow their businesses and actually get out and start doing some networking. People are seeing that we can't just rely on our very immediate community to support our businesses, and perhaps expanding out into the Plattsburgh direction, or even across the border into Canada, or even in Vermont as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Rouse's Point. I know I consider that really one of those secrets that's been too well kept. We want folks to discover it. We always hear folks, particularly with regard to Lake Champlain, we'll hear them refer to the lovely villages and communities in Vermont, as if we don't have them here in New York. And I always cite Rouse's Point as I think a classic example really one of the loveliest little main street areas of a village anywhere here in this region.
Yeah.
The beautiful parks along the lakefront and the street lights and things that have been done downtown.
Yeah, the whole DOT improvements that came through 3 or 4 years ago when we got repaved, we got new sidewalks, we got new lighting. The village board was very active in getting that taken care of, and that did make a huge deal of difference. It made our downtown more marketable to businesses, more appealing for people to set up shop and have a lot more foot traffic come through. That with the marinas, bringing in the Canadian traffic that we get every summer, have really contributed to the growth there.
People that have never been to Rouse's Point or haven't been there in a few years would be surprised, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's a whole different look and atmosphere than it used to be. We like to tell people you can get anything you need in the northern tier. There's almost no reason to have to go anywhere else to buy anything. I mean, you can buy furniture, you can buy clothing, you can buy food, pretty much anything, appliances, anything you need is available right up here. It's just a matter of getting the word out that we are here.
I'd like to add something to the waterfront question. The Clinton County Planning Board has received a grant, well, it's actually Essex and Clinton County, for a waterfront revitalization grant. They're in the phase 1 planning, and for Clinton County, they're planning to focus on Rouse's Point. So that will also be an added attraction. They haven't decided exactly where in Rouse's Point, but it will be lakefront. We focused on the lake for so long, and now we're looking at the lakeshore.
Absolutely, and that's a reflection that a lot of good things have been done here, but there's a lot more potential. A lot more potential here if we do the right things in the future. Lisa, we mentioned the Canadian border already, but that's certainly important to you, but it certainly isn't the only source of your customers, but being here on the border and tourism, what's changing or what is the future of the whole tourism, visitor shopping dimension up here?
Well, as we market to potential shoppers and tourists to the area, we rely, of course, on the Canadian traffic, which has been increasing, partly because the exchange rate is getting more favorable, and also because I think that they're just becoming accustomed to it the way it is. But we also certainly depend on the local traffic, we depend on the Plattsburgh market, and we also go into Vermont and find that a lot of Vermonters are coming over. They love the selection at the center here, and they also like going down to Plattsburgh as well. So we find that people are coming from about a 40 to 50 mile radius at least to come here to the center. And we look forward to, with the Chamber, adding an information center here in the lobby so that we can service those tourists even better as far as giving them information about places to stay, places to go, places to eat.
Good point. Our two chambers are working together to establish a visitor center right here at Miramar to service those visitors coming from Canada, but also going east and west on Route 11 here, and having a place where they can pick up materials, having a phone set up where they can access motels, restaurants, and other services while they're here, so that hopefully they'll drop even a little more money. They won't just come to Miramar and drop some money here, but we'll get a little more out of them as they visit a few other things. And we hope to have that up and running by the end of this year, if not sooner.
Right, and I think it's important to let people know there are a lot of things here. I think some people have the perception that we're very rural and there isn't much up here. There is, it just might be a little harder to find or just a few more miles away, but it is here and we're going to help direct people to those places.
In fact, factory outlet shopping is really the hottest thing in the country today.
It's a growing trend. In fact, of all the factory outlet centers that exist today, more than half of them have been built just within the last 5 to 10 years. And it is experiencing a growth rate double that of regular retail malls.
And there really isn't another factory outlet center like this until you get all the way down to Lake George.
Correct. Yeah, it's definitely becoming more available to people in terms of, you used to have to drive maybe 200 miles to get to the closest factory outlet center. Now, with the growth of the industry, they're becoming closer and closer to everybody, and we as a company are looking to to open more centers across the country. And this one we know is definitely an asset to this area.
Just very quickly, what kind of variety of outlet stores do you have here?
Well, for the size center that we are, we have a huge variety. That's what we really are proud of. For only having 28 stores, we've got everything from adult clothing and shoes to kids clothing and shoes. We've got electronics, we've got bath and bedding, we've got housewares, we've got even a sunglass outlet, and we're really excited about the opening of a new store which will have antiques and home decor and pottery from Mexico. Just gorgeous stuff. I was just down there the other day as they were unpacking. So there is really quite a variety here for the size center that we have.
Christmas shopping season is here, so this is perfect timing. Be sure and get up there.
That's
in
right,
the
and we
next
have the
couple of
best Santa Claus too.
weeks. And once you're here, check out Miramar, and of course the story is there's other things to check out while you're here. Make a full day of it. Go down to the downtown and see some of the specialty shops or the farm stores around, or stop in the restaurants. There's just lots else to do in the towns immediately around here. Make this your focal point, and then work out around from here. Pick up your brochures and things here, and explore.
Yeah, and the exploring is the best part. I really think we have the best views of the lake. If you go across the Rouse's Point Bridge, it's just beautiful. And if you drive on Route 11, the foliage is just great. I mean, it's still beautiful, even this late in the season. Every time on my way to work, I'm just amazed how gorgeous it is.
Now, another whole dimension that really is of importance to the whole North Country region is what's happening with the industrial sector and cross-border trade up here, because as one of the most important bridge communities between Canada and the U.S., I mean, Champlain is really becoming more and more a major international gateway with really national implications for the U.S. as NAFTA kicks in and as those numbers explode. The Chamber went out and did a study just last year looking at 1994, and we know it's grown since then, just established what the economic impact of that cross-border activity is. $784 million a year, just to Clinton County. Border businesses, meaning those customs brokers and freight forwarder activities up here, are employing 700 people here in this area with $18.2 million in payroll. I mean, we're talking big time. Put that in some perspective, that's more than the civilian employment and payroll was at Plattsburgh Air Force Base. It's happening just in those border-related businesses here in the northern interior. So that's obviously important to this area. It's obviously supporting the whole economy of the North Country in a very direct way as that spills over and circulates through the North Country. And Matt, I know your company, Cross Border Development Corporation, works specifically and has really found a niche working with these Canadian companies locating here. How important is this equation, and what's happening with it? What's the rate of growth, and what's the future of that for the Northern Interior particularly?
Well, I think first of all, I want to commend the Chamber on doing the Canadian Impact Study, because although our firm, working almost 99% with Canadian companies expanding into the U.S., we knew that there was a large factor of the amount of investment made into this area and the impact on this area. But the Chamber actually going out and researching that and putting some hard numbers on it, I think it's been better able to promote what that impact is. In this area, we see a great deal of Canadian companies ranging anywhere from even a small post office box at maybe a local customs broker or a building like Kimpex, where they just have a phone answer and pick up their mail and actually have a U.S. address for their company, and that ranges right up to people renting tens of thousands of square feet or actually having their own buildings. And we see that with the new industrial park on Route 11. We see that at Fort Montgomery Estates in Rouse's Point. We've got mostly Canadian-based manufacturers here that are growing, and I think the rate of growth, as Gary said, is tremendous. And I think that one way to look at it in a simple way is we have a growing number of restaurants. We have a growing infrastructure here. It's better every year. We've got a new bank in town. I think all those are signs that you're going to see a great deal of growth here. And we've been growing each year, but I think it will continue to grow, Gary, I think tremendously in the next 10 to 15 years.
You mentioned Kimpex. A lot of folks out there, I'm sure, recall Harris Graphics. You know, that was a big employer and a big complex up here a number of years ago. And folks that haven't maybe, I'm sure there's few of our viewers have gone into that complex in recent years. And if they did, they'd be surprised, wouldn't they? They may even have a vision of their mind. Geez, there used to be this big company up there and it closed. There must be this big closed factory up there, but that's not the case. What's happened with Kimpex?
Actually, Kimpex is something that I think had several doubters back in the 80s when a Canadian company came in and purchased the building. They knew that there was a demand for Canadian-based businesses that wanted to get started in the U.S. or had a percentage of sales in the U.S. To come in and actually rent small amounts of space and save money. I know there'll be a show from Gary and the Chamber on customs brokers. Well, they tend to charge by entry an amount of goods coming into the States. So a Canadian company doing all individual entries from a Canadian warehouse ends up spending more money on entries. So they get smarter and they say, if we're doing 20% of our sales in the U.S., let's bring it all in one shipment and then start a warehouse operation in Champlain. Kimpex has actually benefited from that. You see a lot of warehouse, some manufacturing jobs, and I think if you were to total up the number of companies in there, you'd probably be at about 50 or 60, and the majority of them being Canadian companies. I mean, it's a great success story, and I know that judging from phone bills and so forth coming out of the Kimpex facility, utility bills, that actually that building is doing much more than when Harris was there in those regards.
I'd like to add something on the Kimpex building. There's also a restaurant in there which serves local folks, not only the Kimpex tenants, but currently we're looking at the possibility of developing a daycare in the Kimpex building. Grant is being applied for. There's a group of people here representing the various industries that are studying the possibility of that. It has been approved by the health department and other departments, so that's also a possible thing in the building.
Yes, some very progressive things happening
Yes.
with a lot of the employers. And as Matt mentioned, we went to this one facility up there, you find 50 or 60 different corporate names, and I'm sure nobody out there has a clue or even here. And it's fascinating to walk up and down the halls of that complex now and see this multitude of companies all here doing an incredible amount of things, from candles to customs brokerage activities to pumps. I mean, it's just everything, and Western boots, and just everything in that building. It's a real panoply of activities. Celine, you've been a leader here in the business community for a long time. How has the area changed in your point of view, and what do you see as some of the opportunities you think that it's going to take advantage of in the years ahead?
Some of the changes, of course, as Matt mentioned, is the industrial park in Champlain. The Clinton County Area Development Corporation has taken it over, and the Village of Champlain is providing the water and sewer, so we have infrastructure out there. There is development. We have a major warehouse, as some of you can see the sign, Molson USA. And also there's a new building going up, and it's a Canadian firm has recently purchased and signed on with the county. They are going to employ several people with many different wage levels and above average wage levels. So we are looking forward to that development. There are challenges in the area because we, as was previously mentioned, we're a well-kept secret. So we have to keep promoting our Northern Tier, even to some of our Northern Tier residents, to shop locally, that everything is available here. You can get products, you can eat in restaurants here, and shop here for your clothing and whatever. We also are in the process of working with Clinton County Chamber to develop a promotional brochure to promote the area, to tell about some of our local businesses and what is here, and that will become widespread. So these are some of the things I see.
Gary, Winter Carnival is a big event up here that a lot of folks do know about and do come up to, but certainly a lot of other folks here in the North Country could certainly enjoy coming to if they haven't. When's that going to be in
It's going to be around the 7th of February. It's going to run for about 2 to 3 weeks. It involves ski races, ATV. We have a lot of events for the children. Mirror markets involved. We're drawing for the kids, photos, and it's a big 3-week event that helps the Northern Tier a lot. We have a lot of people coming into the area. Our hotels fill up. Our restaurants are full. We have bookings already coming in. People are calling me already for ATV. It's going to be a big event. As long as the ice and the weather holds out, we'll be in good shape.
And folks want to get in touch with you to find out more about that or other things that you might be up to, where could they call?
They could call me at home at 297-3087 or at KG Concepts.
297-2156. We do have a chamber number is 297-3040. Right now, that number's in transition. We're moving it to a new office, so it'll be a couple of weeks before that one's back up and running again. Probably next week.
This will be on the air probably. Yeah, well, this will
Well,
be
this
on
will
the
be
air by
already
that
there,
time,
so by the time, right, by the
it
time
will
this
be
airs,
working.
297-3040 will be the chamber number, and we have a complete voicemail system that has information already on it. So if you don't get a person, you will get information anyway.
Mhm. Tell us a little bit about the Northern Tier Chamber.
Well, right now we're involved with this information center. It's just going to be a big stepping stone for us for the trade. Route 11 and 87 is one of our biggest intersections. This is the center of it. I believe once we get this off the ground, get it going, get it staffed, it's going to be very important for the tourists. We have a lot of people moving into the area. They're looking for places to live. We're getting a lot of phone calls at the chamber, or something as simple as, who do I call to get my electric hooked up? More and more people are moving in. Factories are hiring more and more people, and it's growing a lot. So we're involved in that. We have the Citizen of the Year banquet coming up, and we're promoting a lot of businesses. We work hand in hand with them. So I believe that it's going to be a busy year.
That's good. That's good. Lisa, Junior Achievement has also come to the Northern Tier.
Yes, well, the program, we've been able to double our reach within 1 year in Clinton County, and this year we're really happy to add some more schools, one of them being NCCS. And we look forward to expanding into other areas as well. For those of you who are watching from other areas, we'll get to you, and it's going really well.
And that's something we actually heard. We had a roundtable up here recently where we had about 40 or 50 Northern Tier business people come in and really talk about the future, and we had a lot of good input out of that for both chambers and for Celine and others about what we can do to take advantage of opportunities up here. And workforce, again, was one of the things that we heard, and Junior Achievement is certainly a direct response to that.
And I think, kind of tying in with that, as well as the other topics we've discussed, I think an important point to make to people who might not be familiar with this area is that we do have all the advantages of a bigger market in terms of educational opportunities, in terms of business opportunities, in terms of shopping. You can get everything from shoelaces to clothing to appliances to cars. You can eat anywhere from fast food to fine dining. So you have all the amenities, but you still have the service and the personal touch of the small town, which I think is the biggest benefit and what people really notice when they come here.
Quality of life is really a big part. That's what we heard was we have a great quality of life everywhere here in the North Country, but there are also some distinctive things about all the different parts of the North Country. And I know we heard that come through loudly and clearly at that round table, so people appreciate what the quality of life here and also how important it is to convey that as part of making people want to come here and live here and work here and put their companies here. This is a great place to do things for economic reasons, but also it's a great place to do things for those quality of life reasons.
I'd like to piggyback on that if I could, Gary. I just want to commend both chambers, the Northern Tier Chamber as well as the Plattsburgh and Clinton County Chamber, that they're actually working together on this roundtable issue. It was a great morning where we could share some views, and actually it's nice to see the Plattsburgh area chamber looking at our chamber and our area as kind of a welcoming mat to the Canadian connection, if you will. And I'm sure that working together, there's some synergies there, and I think that we'll be able to probably promote the whole area much better. And I just want to commend both chambers on that.
Well, I think that's an important point. I think somebody down in Willsboro, for example, might wonder, well, it's a nice place to visit, and they're employing a lot of people up there, but how important is it really to me and where I live? And the fact is, we really have established that Canadian connection between our region and Canada has really made this whole area really very much the U.S. suburb for Montreal. It's where our future is, where the jobs are being generated, whether it's up here or Plattsburgh Air Force Base or places like Willsboro. NICO in Willsboro is a Canadian-owned company. You can go all the way down through. And this, therefore, right here in Champlain is the doormat. This is the front door. This is the entry point for all that really is affecting and important to everybody all the way down the line. And what happens here and doing things well here, whether it's hospitality or signage or border activities or just understanding things, is most important here, but is going to ripple through the whole region. If we don't do it well here, we're not going to introduce them well. But if we do it well here, it's going to be good news for everybody. So, and I think that makes it important for us all to work together. It's not none of the areas stand alone. What's good for the Northern Tier is good for Plattsburgh and Essex County and other areas down the line, and what's good there is good for here. But we need to be talking to each other and working together to find those things that are mutual benefit and make sure that we work together on those things, because everybody ends up stronger.
Yes, I think there's definitely a way for both chambers to work together on these projects. Our local chamber, the Northern Tier Chamber, we sort of have our hand on the pulse of exactly what's going on in our immediate business community. The Plattsburgh North Country Chamber has more resources than we do. You know, they have staff and they have the finances to be able to take care of some of these projects that maybe we just can't handle because of our size. So I think as long as we keep working together and keep the lines of communication open between the two chambers, I think we can accomplish a lot over the course of the upcoming years.
Yeah, the best combination of things for everybody is a regional perspective, wedded together wherever appropriate with the local perspective.
Yes,
And
exactly.
each brings strength and resources. But if they work together, it ends up being a win-win. We all like win-wins.
Yeah.
Everybody in business likes a win-win.
And I think if the businesses, the business people out there want to see any of this succeed, they have to be willing to get involved as well. And as with any organization, but the chamber especially, if they just think that they're going to mail off their membership money and never take part in anything, they're not going to benefit the way they would if they would get involved with either one of the chambers. It doesn't matter which one, whichever one they want to help out, and show up to the events and be supportive. And I think a lot of projects will get covered a lot faster that way.
Absolutely.
I think we saw a lot of interest at the Business Roundtable. I know the few people I had the opportunity to call and to invite and to remind them about the Business Roundtable were very excited. Oh yes, we need that. And you could see the participation that morning, and a lot of people want to do a lot of things to promote our area and to increase visitors to the area.
And we're going to do it. There you have it, a whole lot of things to find out about and come up and explore and learn more about and enjoy here in the Northern Tier, that area around Champlain and Rouse's Point and Shazy for folks watching the show. Come up here and enjoy. Christmas season is a perfect time to do it. Summer is also a good time to do it, so tuck that away, and next summer be sure and get up here and enjoy the parks and the resources and trails and biking opportunities and everything there is to do up here. Thank you for watching North Country Commerce. Be sure and tune in future weeks. Our next episode will be on customs brokers and freight forwarders, many of whom are here in the Northern Tier, and what it is they do. Thank you.
Yeah. A riding crop.